Welcome to Excel Boats on the X Podcast, powered by Mud Buddy Motors.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
The only podcast to bring you insights on the world of hunting, fishing, and boating. With your host, J. Paul Jackson.
You don't say much, do you?
Now, load up and sight in. This is On the X.
Welcome to the Excel Boats on the X Podcast, powered by Mud Buddy Motors. J. Paul Jackson here with my co-host, Jeffrey Whitlock. How you doing, Jeffrey?
You know, J. Paul, anytime that I get to be on the podcast, I am doing really good.
Yes, sir, buddy.
Just because I get to be with you, I get to hang out with J. Paul Jackson. How's that for my little intro right there?
I'll tell you what, my self-esteem, it just went up 10 spots. Let me tell you, that was great.
Well, good.
And I'm glad to have you.
One of my job descriptions is actually J. Paul Jackson self-esteem manager. That's what I do.
I know. I have such issues with self-confidence. I appreciate it.
We all know that. I think all the listeners out there know that as well.
Did I ever tell you about my buddy who gave me the Purpose-Driven Life book?
No.
So a buddy of mine gives me the Rick Warren book, Purpose-Driven Life. And by the way, for all you guys out there, I'm joking around about it, but it really is a great read, and I would suggest it to anybody. But I opened the book up. I read the first sentence. I put it back in the box, and I sent it back to him. And he got it, and he said, "Why did you do that?" And I said, the first sentence said, "It's not all about you. Why would I want to read this?
Why would I want to read it? I'm out. I'm immediately done."
So then he sent me a book on humility and grace, and I read that, and it's been a great help. But, yeah, we're missing Dave Reynolds this week. He's in Arkansas duck hunting, lucky dog, although I'm not sure he's killing any ducks. So really, really good to have you, Jeffrey. And we've also got from Mud Buddy, another one of our own, a very special guest, our Mud Buddy plant manager, general manager, Mr. Bill Hendricks. And, Bill, what exactly is your title?
My title is general manager and senior engineer, and basically it means I do whatever Glenn wants me to do whenever I can.
Man, it's great to have you with us today. We're in the middle of duck season and got a lot to talk about. I just finished a really great hunt last week with the crew from The Grind, Waterfowl TV, Bill Wilroth and the guys from Dreamweaver Productions. We had a great time. He brought over his boat, and we had a couple of tiller control, my boat over there, a buddy's 37 and another 50, and, man, they all performed just unbelievable. It's amazing how these motors have evolved and how awesome running a Mud Buddy is.
Oh, guaranteed. There's no doubt about it. These motors are absolutely incredible. How was your hunt? Were you successful? I mean, besides the motor and all of that, but how was
that? Actually, it was great. A really good friend of mine, Mr. West Bond, who I hope we have on the show one of these days. He invited us to come over to his family's farm. They've got about 3,000 acres. They call it Goose Farms. They manage it intensely for waterfowl habitat. I mean, it's a big rice farm, a working farm, but they don't farm, it's a commercial operation, but they farm for ducks.
Right.
Their whole focus in their farming operation is to have a place for waterfowl and a place for their family and friends to hunt. Their motto is a goose farm where everything comes home. And when you go there, it really is like being part of the family. We limited out 2 of the 3 days on our mallards. We hunted a really cool blind they call the Big House. We got some great footage. I think that they're going to make 2 episodes out of it. So, as hard as the hunting's been in the Mississippi Flyway, Bill and the camera guys were very, very happy because they were able to get 2 really, really solid episodes, some good duck killing.
That's good. Bill Wilroth is so awesome. He's such a nice guy. He's so talented, and his crew as well, very talented, that you just hate to go out and have a bad hunt with those guys. They're so great.
I brought a great dog, and Bill is an excellent duck caller. I didn't realize how skilled he was with the duck call, but Bill is just an all-around really, really good guy. When he left, West came to me and said, hey, you know, anytime those guys want to come back, there's an open invitation because we really liked them and they're our kind of people. And that means a lot to me. This isn't a place where I take guests. I mean, every once in a while I'll call up West and say, hey, would you like to do this? You know, in this case, would you like to film an episode of The Grind or two? And he was all about it. And afterward, he was thrilled that he did it. Got to see some of the new Dakota Decoy stuff, which was really, really cool. The new Lucky Ducks are awesome.
Really?
I mean, oh, yeah. Yeah. We had Brett from Lucky Duck with us, and he brought some of the new products. I can't tell you about them, or he'd have to come and shoot me. They're unveiling them, I guess, this week at SHOT Show and a couple of other places. But Lucky Duck has some really cool motion stuff coming out. You know, everything that he had was on one remote control. I really, really liked it.
Awesome.
Everything worked great. So it was a good experience. Look forward to seeing that episode later this fall. And, you know, we went to Goose Farms, took Jake and Jake over there last year, and we made a little short film. After we released the podcast for you guys listening, would it be possible for us to throw that up on our social media and YouTube channel?
Absolutely. Keep an eye out for that. That'll go up in probably a day or so.
Fantastic. Well, let's get that sucker up.
It's a beautiful video, actually. Really, really pretty. It looks like great area. So how much did you use the boat out there? I mean, they've got big water out there? Is it pretty cheap?
Oh, yeah. You know, the big house blind sits on a tree line that is on a creek. And it's very, very difficult to access by wading. You can't get to it by UTV. I guess you could by an Argo, but that's about the only way. So they've got a really nice boathouse that takes two boats. They keep two Excels with Mud Buddies. Both of them have 37 EFI HDRs on them. And then they've got a big buckbrush, basically swamp that they have access to also. So, yeah, we ran the boats every day. You know, they perform great. I mean, their water level is very low for the mallards. They keep it, you know, they can control it for the puddle ducks. And they've got a big resting area that we took a tour of with the boat. So, yeah, we got a lot of great footage with the boats. Got to, you know, do a lot of messing around with them, showing the features to the Dreamweaver guys and stuff, some things that they didn't really know about them. And, yeah, it's just amazing to me how versatile these boats are. And we're going to talk about fishing, I know, here in just a minute. But West is a huge, huge fisherman. When he bought his 1651, you know, he made sure that he got a trolling motor mount. And he was telling me the other day how great it is on a couple of the smaller lakes that he's got there on the farm. You know, he can move it around. He's got the winch on the front of it. He's got one that doesn't have a boat ramp. Never could get a boat in it before. But now he can get his Excel in there to fish out of because he drops it in there, which is pretty easy. But then getting it out, he just utilizes the winch on the front of it, winches the boat out and up onto the trailer.
Right. That's awesome. So while we've got Bill is here with us, which is really exciting. Bill is the man behind our two latest models of Mud Buddies right here, the anniversary editions. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so for these are the editions that came on in July for the model year, and basically it was a real refinement of some of our previous models. You know, we did a fair amount of work on the handle in particular. We added the momentary forward, which is a real subtle thing, but let me tell you, it makes a huge difference when you're trying to come into a trailer and you're trying to do, you know, in your low wake zones, those types of things, being able to just bump it when you need it and go kind of slower than the engine would go if it was fully engaged makes a really big difference. We also moved the safety lanyard back to behind your wrist on the handle. That it's one of those little things that you don't really notice until you start using it. And that safety lanyard being in a better position, it's more comfortable. That isn't kind of in front of your hand where all the switches are. You know, some of these little refinements, when they all add up, we notice, you know, you just notice a better experience when you're running the motor. You know, we moved to a larger handle tube on the handle that's a little more rigid, a little more strong, and just kind of flows better in the look and the design of the rest of the handle. We changed some of the wiring. We added the extra trim switch to the side of the motor, which was also a good addition because if you're outside the boat, being able to trim it up to the position, get it into the travel lock position, it's a handier way to get it in there. We brought in the anniversary edition which included the Q muffler at a discounted price for the upgrade, and all those things kind of put together tied into our 2018 anniversary edition model. We wanted to do something a little bit special for that because we're marking our 25th year in business, and we wanted to add some, we wanted to throw something out that would add something that would help the customers, help them see a little bit how we appreciate them and how we're so grateful for all the support we get. And we get a lot of really good feedback from our customers, and we want to make sure that they know that we support them as well.
Yeah, and you also supported it with some pretty competitive special anniversary pricing as well, didn't you?
Yeah, correct. The add-on price was about half what we would have charged for those parts individually.
Well, I love the new features on them. I mean, over the last 2 years, the innovations that you guys have come out with have been pretty doggone impressive. I thought it would be pretty hard to top the grab bar trim switch, which, by the way, if you're running one of our motors and you've got our grab bar and you do not have the trim switch on it, you are totally missing out. I use that grab bar trim switch so much more than I ever thought that I would. I mean, it is the handiest, most convenient feature that I've got probably on my motor. Did you come up with that, Bill? No,
that was actually one of our other engineers' designs, and he's done a really good job with that. The grab bar trim switch is one of those things where if you use it for even a few minutes, then you go back to a boat that doesn't have it, you find yourself moving your thumb and trying to push a switch that isn't there.
No, honestly, you use it enough these days that you almost forget that there is a trim switch on the actual handle. I mean, I don't even imagine that it's there anymore because it's all in your right hand.
With the one on the motor and the one on the grab bar, I probably use the one on the handle now, maybe 5% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, the one on the motor, again, it was a great add-on. And if you're a two-boat guy like I am, I have one of our Bay Pro 203s as well with the Suzuki 140, and of course, it has the trim switch. Actually, the Bay Pro 203, one of the coolest things that I think that our guys did at Excel, the engineers there, was, and I know I'm getting off on a tangent away from Mud Buddy, but that trim switch up in the bow is awesome, particularly if you're running along in shallower water and your motor hangs on something and you're up at the front fishing, you can just trim it up. But, you become so accustomed if you're a two-boat guy like I am with that trim switch on the side of the motor. And I found myself in the older models, a lot of time trailering, really missing that on the side of the motor. So to come in and add that to the side of the Mud Buddy, that was a great add-on, Bill, and a very practical feature.
Yeah, we try to add things that when we add things for coming model years, we want to make sure that we're always refining the design, trying to make something that's better, but also make something that's practical. We can add. It doesn't make much sense to add things that people aren't going to use or that are cumbersome to the design. So there is quite a bit of, what are we going to do to top last year, and trying to think of the things that would make sense for our people to use that at the same time would, so that we aren't adding things that just to add them and increase the expense of the motor.
Yeah, well, I mean, all the add-ons that I've seen this year, taking the kill switch, back, by the way, everybody use your kill switch. I mean, that is so important. I got a photo the other day of a guy that got knocked out of a boat, didn't have his kill switch on, got hit across the thigh with the prop. He's going to have multiple surgeries to repair it, when it could have all been avoided by wearing that kill switch lanyard. I do like moving it back, though. One of the things that I found having it in front, I wear mine often around my wrist. I wish that every maker of a waterfowling garment, for the top, be it a jacket or a coat, would put a kill switch D-ring on that sucker. We got to talk with Jim Sabir over at
Such a great idea. That's a great idea.
You need one like right here.
Yes,
right here.
Yeah, just a little,
right there.
A little clip-on ring, so you don't have the big old bulky on there. It can just clip right in there. That's it.
Yeah, and for you guys that don't have a visual of this, because it is a podcast,
I'm just watching Jay Paul. Sorry.
Yeah. Underneath your chest pocket on your left side, because the tiller's always on your left, or somewhere underneath the forearm of your left wrist would be a great place for a clothes maker, hunting gear maker, to put a ring for that kill switch. And having it in front was always a pain, because most of the time when I'm operating my boat, and I think this goes for most of us hunters, you're wearing gloves because it's cold, and I've got it around my wrist, and then you've got the the cord, which is like a telephone style. What do you call that, where it's all stretchy?
Yeah, that just
coiled up.
Yeah, just
anyway, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a spring coil. Yeah,
spring coil. It gets in the way, and you've got your toggle switch for engaging forward and reverse, and your bump and your trim there. Although I hardly ever use it, but you still got your trim there. And with all that stuff, wearing gloves, it's hard enough to do anything anyway. A really smart guy one time told me, he said, the only thing you can really do effectively wearing gloves is piss on your gloves. I think he's right. Peeing on your gloves is not. So moving that back behind your wrist for the kill switch lanyard was a great idea. And then finally the bump switch.
I cannot imagine using these motors without the bump. It's almost changed as much for me as that trim switch grab handle has. Because once you use it, it's the most useful, especially moving up to the trailer, getting it in position. Just those small movements, man. I couldn't imagine without it.
Yeah, well, I've still got an older model that doesn't have those features. So for a guy like me, Bill, that has, say, I've got a 4400 HDR that's a couple of years old. If I wanted to upgrade my tiller handle, how difficult would that be to get the new features?
Best way would be to swap it for a newer model tiller handle.
Can we do that though?
Yeah, you can do that. So long as you've got the gray plug switch, it's a plug-in handle. All the HDRs have that gray plug-in handle. The older models had two outlets on the back of the handle, an 8-pin and a 2-pin, and we've changed that for the newer models for a single 12-pin gray connector. The reason we added the extra 2 pins is that gave us the ability to run the trim switch down there on the side of the motor. We tie all those circuits together up inside the football of the handle. So, but we can make a little adapter pigtail that just plugs into the handle and goes to the old 8-pin, 2-pin configuration.
Good deal. So no matter which one I've got, I could upgrade.
Yeah, you could just plug in you just bolt on the handle and plug it in, and then you've got the new handle and the new upgrade.
Can you find that in the online store, or is that something we need to call Mud Buddy customer service about, or how would you go about that?
I don't think we posted it on the store yet. We can get that going though.
Yeah, your best option will be to contact Keith. It's keith@mudbuddy.com. He'll be able to get you set up with that.
Yeah, and for those of you guys that listen to the podcast on a regular basis, you've heard Keith on here with us several times before. And also every Wednesday, you can catch Jeffrey and Keith on our Facebook page live on Jeffrey and Keith's Shallow Water Adventures, or Mud Buddy Shallow Water Adventures. So
that's right. Keith's getting a little bit of a big head with that though. So we got any chance you have to cut him down.
People start to recognize him.
It's very useful. Yeah, no, we actually did. It's not a big show. We just like to do it live. It's a way for Keith especially to have a lot of contact one-on-one with customers when people have questions. It's really nice that he can answer them in real time. And that's been really fun. But yeah, we were out on a shoot just a few weeks ago, and somebody came up and was like, "Hey, I saw the boat." He actually recognized the boat, the Salty Assassin, our amazing F-86. And we've got that new, we've got an anniversary edition of the 5000 on that boat, which is just amazing. I mean, it crushes everything.
You guys fly in that.
Oh, we just fly in that boat. And I talked to Dave about it, because Dave goes with us a lot of times, and he's got his long tail. And and we spend a lot of time waiting for Dave, which is fine. But yes, Keith is going to be on this next Wednesday too. So any questions, specifically if you have questions about upgrades, performance upgrades or anything like that, he'll be able to.
Just call Keith. If you really want to make him feel good when you call him, tell him what a great fan you are and call him Hollywood. You know, I've noticed he keeps trying to push you out of the way, Jeffrey, sometimes.
He does, you know, he thinks he's just, you know, super famous now, and he walks around with that attitude and the dark sunglasses and, you know, 2 assistants. So.
Yeah, well, I knew when he had that agent call me the other day to talk to me about upcoming Mud Buddy commercials we might produce, that, you know, maybe we were showcasing Keith a little too much.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, Keith.
No, he's really great. Luckily, Keith has so much knowledge about it. He's been here for a long time. He really knows his stuff. So he's really great to have on the show. There's no better resource out there than Keith. Don't tell him I said that, but.
Yeah, he actually is a very humble guy. So I'm going to give him a call, Bill, then, and get that in the rolling, because you're right. Once you get used to one, you can't go back. And now that I've got both, it's driving me crazy. And we'll work on getting that upgrade to the online store. But if you have one of the older models and you want to upgrade to the newer tiller handle, just go to the website. You can, on the contact us from mudbuddymotors.com, you can find the phone number, call, ask for Keith, and he can get you hooked up. Cool. All right, great. Well, now I know you've got some really cool new stuff coming out for this year. I know I had proposed the twin turbo diesel, but you said that probably wasn't going to work.
Well, you know, every once in a while I see those twin turbo diesel things, and I think, oh, that would be a lot of fun. But honestly, the diesels just don't have the power to weight for that size engines that work very well. You know, but we are working on some things. I can't quite announce most of them yet, but we are definitely trying to make sure that what we come to for our next model year is even a refinement over what we have now. And we are always trying to improve. We're always trying to work on new things and trying to be responsive to what our customers are asking us to do. One of the things that we are working on quite a bit is bringing on a new line of accessories for the boats. Helping to, especially for the people that want to do both fishing and hunting, having different types of fishing accessories and rod holders and all kinds of, you know, just about anything you can think of that typically would attach to a boat, for those types of things, making those so they all fit on the Excel boats and the whole Excel line, not only the duck hunting boats, but also the bay boats and all the way up on through. So we've come up with quite a few pretty unique and innovative designs that I think people are going to be really happy with as we announce those.
Absolutely. In fact, we teased on the Shallow Water Adventures. They had one of those brand new track systems that they had teased real briefly on that show, but it's a game changer.
That track system is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh boy,
it is super solid. I helped on the design on that part. And I remember Glenn said, I want that thing to be strong enough that I can put 300 pounds on a downrigger and it'll still hold up. So it's super heavy duty on that track system, and it will definitely hold that.
Yes, it's really awesome, and they're coming up real soon. I know I've been putting in a lot of work, and so have you, and we've got a lot of others here at headquarters working on not just these accessories, but these tracks, getting them out. And like I said, it really is a game changer. We were teasing on that. I don't know if you saw, I don't know if you're one of our adoring fans, J. Paul.
I am. I just don't have to watch it often enough.
But we were out. We took Dave with us, and we went out and we were demoing a prototype on this brand new track that we have that works on these XL boats. So beautiful. But we attached a camp chef right to the side of the boat that slid in this rail. Really, really cool. It worked so well. And so we went out, cooked some elk tacos, and had ourselves a really great time. And people went nuts over this thing. And it's not something we're going to even have available for a little while. It really was just something that Bill, who is so brilliant, that he just kind of came up with right before we left. He's like, hey, what if we were to throw a little bit of this together and put this right on? And it all worked right with that track so brilliantly. It just slides right in. Most incredible thing I've seen, but that's just the beginning. I mean, there are going to be so many accessories that fit into these tracks. Your boat, your XL boat, will now become 100% customizable. And that's something that we've been working really hard to accomplish. And we are, we're so close. They're going to roll out fast and hard here in the next month or so.
Yeah, and we'll be premiering all those again on the online store.
Yes, they will be on the XL online stores, where those, the majority of all of those will land. So keep an eye out on that.
Yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah, and these are going to be fun.
Oh yeah.
And for me, they're satisfying to design these types of things, because they're typically smaller, not super difficult projects, but you add them all together and trying to make them so that they all work together and they're compatible and they fit on all the boats. Once we get to that kind of thing, we finally got something that I'm really excited about as we roll those out to our customers.
Yeah, really, really great stuff. But I do want to jump in while we've got it here too, J. Paul. So I don't remember exactly when your season ends, but ours is coming up. We're about a week away from the finish of duck season here. So we're all starting to think about getting into a little bit of fishing.
Yeah, we've got 2 weekends left. We end the last Sunday of January this year. I think that's around 27th, 28th. Thankfully for me, it comes this year before my anniversary, which is the 29th of January. I want to get into the fishing, but when I got married over 25 years ago, federal law required that duck season closed by the third Sunday of January every year. So, I thought, hey, get married January the 29th. I'm safe. I got it made. And then a few years later, thanks to former Senator Trent Lott from the great state of Mississippi, who is a very, very avid duck hunter, he got the federal law changed to allow the closing date nationwide to go to January 31st. So a lot of years I'm screwed. I'm still hunting on my anniversary, but this year it'll be done. And yeah, I am starting to turn my thoughts toward fishing. When I was hunting over there last week with the guys from the grind at Goose Farms, and Wes started talking about, being able to put his boat into several places, I got thinking about a couple of holes that I haven't fished around here in years because they're so difficult to access. And, come about March, April, I'm going to be chasing the bass pretty hard on a couple of small lakes that I haven't hit in years, because I got the ability to winch that boat out, with winch on the front. And a lot of people don't realize how handy your Mud Buddy is for fishing. I mean, it is not just a duck hunting boat by any means. I fish a lot at Reelfoot Lake, and there are a lot of places that it's really shallow. It's almost impossible to access with an outboard that I can get to. Same thing is true with some small reservoirs that are, choked up, creeks that we go down to get to beaver pools and stuff that fishing can be really good in the springtime that I can get to. One of the complaints that I hear sometimes about the Mud Buddy is, man, I love trying to fish with mine, but I've got to trim it all the way up, get it out of the water and locked into position, or it falls sideways and my trolling motor won't let me use it as a skag to track correctly. But that's really not an issue at all. And Bill, all you got to do is go in there. You showed me how to tighten up that big nut there at the base.
Yeah, if you just tighten that, it just tightens up the turning so that you can control the tension on it.
Yeah, so I loosened mine up before duck season. I want it to be really easy when I'm out there duck hunting. But last spring when I started fishing, I tightened it up to where I got it at the right tension where I could still run my motor easily, but I could trim it down into the water, straighten it up, and it would stay in place. So, man, that motor is just great for hunting and fishing. We've got the trolling motor mounts available.
Yep.
If you call to order a trolling motor mount, you do need to make sure for Jennifer that you've got your serial number for your boat, because we have different mounts for different models and different years. It's changed a couple of times along the way. But, you know, the trolling motor mounts available. I've found for a guy that doesn't have a bunch of money and can't afford to have two boats, our F4 with a Mud Buddy 3740, 4400, 5000 is a great fishing rig as well.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to do, with the Salty Assassin, we plan on doing a lot of fishing. In fact, we've been scouting a few little holes and rivers that we will only be able to get to with a Mud Buddy. We're really excited to get into those. But
right now you can only get to them if you're ice fishing.
Well, you know, right now, I mean, everything's pretty much iced up, but that doesn't stop me from dreaming. Because I'm really
it's coming.
I cannot wait, especially with this boat. But you know, with the decks fore and aft, it really is a really excellent fishing rig. And now with some of these new accessories as well, we're going to be able to turn that boat into the ultimate fishing boat. It's going to be really, really excellent.
Yeah, we've got a lot more fishing gear coming up in the online store. One of the coolest additions that I saw, our good friends at Deep Apparel got us hooked up. And if you've never seen Deep Apparel performance fishing wear, the guys at Deep, they have got it going on. These guys are all very, very serious fishermen. And we have teamed up with the folks at Deep to offer a bunch of Excel logoed fishing apparel. You can check that out in the online store. The prices are good. I mean, for performance fishing wear, man, I got hooked up with Deep about 3 years ago. I love every product that they make, and really excited to have some of the Deep apparel in the online store.
Oh yeah. Do you know what else we have on there that I've been using, that I use probably more than anything? We actually have one of their dry bag is on there. It's the dry bag backpack, and that is available. And I use one, and I use it for everything. I take all my camera gear. I mean, it's a large bag. It fits quite a bit, and it's kind of my go-to bag now. It's really comfortable to wear. It's got great straps. It's easy. It's really beautiful. That's available on there now too.
Yeah, Mike sent me one about a year and a half ago, and it's indestructible too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that bag stays in my Bay Pro 203. I use it as an overnight bag a lot of the times too, particularly if I'm going to be traveling and I think it's going to be inclement weather, because it is truly 100% waterproof. It's just about indestructible.
Oh yeah.
It is a great bag. And, you know, last summer I started going with some guys hand grabbing catfish down in Mississippi, and their leadering gloves are the most amazing fishing gloves.
Right. That's right.
Oh, they're great for grabbling. I mean, you know, or noodling, you know, they are very comfortable. The dexterity is great. And I found a lot of cool uses for their leadering gloves. So even if you're not a saltwater fisherman, you ought to check out the Deep Apparel leadering gloves.
Absolutely.
Pretty neat product.
Awesome. I remember that video. We've got several videos of you noodling with that. Those are good. You should definitely, all you out there listening, check out. They're on the XL page. Those videos. Check those out, because that was kind of a new experience. I'd never really seen a lot of that noodling until you really went out there. Those guys are crazy, man.
Yeah. You do that without gloves. It just like you watch that and you just go, how?
I mean, it's like you're sticking your whole fist down their gullet, you know, to pick these monsters up.
Oh, yeah. You know, I can't. I mean, I know older guys that'll do it without gloves. They're crazy. I grabbed about a 40-pounder.
Yeah.
40-pound flathead without gloves, and he clamped down, and he took all the hide off the back of my hand. I mean, it took weeks to heal. And, you know, besides being painful, I mean, it was real inconvenience, because it took a lot. The inside of the mouths of those big catfish, it's amazing how rough they are. And, you know, the thing is, you get down in those boxes, and these guys, they don't reach into the root wads and stuff. They mainly go down into the boxes. But you get down in those boxes, and you get that big fish cornered, and you reach down there to grab him. 3 out of 4 times, when you put your hand down there and he sees it, he's going to grab hold of it. It's going to grab you. You don't have to worry about grabbing them a lot of the time. And we're going back and doing that again. I guess that'd be a kind of cool time too to talk about some of the stuff that we've got on the calendar coming up for this year. This coming weekend, if you're in the Paducah, Kentucky area, there's a big boat show going on. Our pro staffer, Doug Wynn, who also is a big deal at crappie.com.
Oh, man.
Doug is going to –
Doug Wynn. I just got to give a little shout out to Doug Wynn. He's kind of my new favorite. It's his weekly fishing tip videos. Have you been watching these? So every week, he with KentuckyLake.com, they kind of produce this. It's a short little fishing tip that Doug Wynn does, and I watch it religiously. I'm increasing my fishing skills weekly because of Doug. He's really, really amazing.
Let me tell you, that guy truly loves to teach people. He'll be doing seminars both Saturday and Sunday. I believe the show opens Friday, I think from 4 to 8, and then all day Saturday. I'm not sure about the hours on Sunday. I'm going to try to make it on Sunday myself and catch one of Doug's seminars. But he is great. I wish every pro staffer that we had was like Doug. I mean, This guy's incredible. So we've got that coming up in February. We've got Catfish Conference that we'll be attending. We'll have a booth up in Louisville, Kentucky. Anybody going to the Catfish Conference, come by. I'll be there. DJ will be there from Excel Boats, our plant manager. Going to have Jeremy Coe from the King Catfish Tournament Trail presented by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's that we sponsor. He's going to be there in the booth with me, and we're going to be talking a lot about the upcoming events. Of course, we're the official boat sponsor with Storm Cat series of the King Cat Trail, and we'll be attending a lot of those King Cat tournament events across the country. And he's got them stretched out from Ohio to Oklahoma, Michigan to Mississippi. I mean, he's got them all over. Actually, I don't know if there's one in Michigan. I know there is up in Indiana, close to Michigan. So he's got them really, really stretched out. We'll be at a lot of those events. I'll be at NWTF, National Wild Turkey Federation Annual Convention, the weekend after Catfish Conference in Nashville, Tennessee at the Gaylord. I'll be moving around a bunch there. And, man, look for me there. If you're there at NWTF, give me a shout out. And then starting in March, we hit catfish tournaments. We've got a crappie tournament. We're going to be doing some fishing ourselves. Going to see a lot on the shallow water adventures with Jeffrey and Keith out there. April and May, plan on getting into some of the noodling action with my buddies down in Mississippi.
Oh, yeah.
April, May, and June, Craig Swanner and the gang from that Mississippi group. You need to check them out. So we've got a big spring on tap. And then about June, I guess it'll be, Bill, we'll start unveiling the new Mud Buddy products, or July. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll have some of the accessories on before that. They'll be coming up as we go along.
Yeah, those new accessories will probably launch in probably end of February or so. Probably we'll start to see some of that happen. Yeah, but it's going to be. I mean, 2019 is going to be an exciting year. We're going to have a lot of stuff happening. We've got plans on plans. So it's, stay tuned because it's going to get exciting. It's going to be wild.
Great. And of course, we're still talking duck hunting too. Duck season, it's not over yet. Got a couple of podcasts coming up. I've got a buddy of mine who guides down in Mississippi, Mr. Justin Maloof, who's always entertaining. We're going to talk a little bit about duck hunting next week, and also about crappie fishing with the water so high. He loves Grenada Lake, and in the spring when the water's high, getting out there in the shallows that you can only get to with a mud boat and wading, chasing crappie. So we're going to be talking about that, and got some pretty cool guests coming up here on the Excel Boats on the X podcast powered by Mud Buddy in the next few weeks. But lots of exciting things going on here, guys.
Exactly. I just hope that maybe I need to get Dave out the door a little more so I get to be a part.
Well, I got to have you on with Justin and I.
That's right.
We'll get that done. I'll talk to him today. We'll see if we can't record that this week while Dave's on the road. And, man, Listen, had a great time with you guys. Bill, appreciate you taking the time to join us as our guest today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yes, sir, man. And keep rolling the good stuff out there. And Jeffrey, we'll be tuning in tomorrow for the Shallow Water Adventures with Keith and Jeffrey on the Excel Boats Facebook page sometime between 2 and 3 o'clock Central Time tomorrow. You can catch that. And in the meantime, we want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen to this edition of the Excel Boats on the X podcast, powered by Mud Buddy Boating.